And she said he paused and he said, nothing nefarious has happened in the Lahaina survivor camps. And he didn't even answer her question. He just was like, nothing's nefarious has happened in these areas. And that's all he would say. And so she was like, first of all, she didn't ask. That wasn't the question she asked. She asked about these unknown deaths. Why aren't they being investigated? And she also contacted the Maui fire chief. Same thing. She says, you can't close a report with an unknown cause of fire. You know, how are the people supposed to feel safe if they don't have any advice of how to prevent this fire that happened, and you're supposed to report on it? And they just close the report. Oh, it's done. Unknown cause, complete. You know, it's, and you're right about what's happening in Lahaina, because 0 building permits have been issued to businesses. If you lost your business in Lahaina, 0 permits have been issued to rebuild. 0 permits have been issued to rebuild on the coast. I think they're at a little over 400 permits total of 2,200 buildings that have been destroyed. And also the same thing happening in LA. You know, really hard to get building permits to rebuild in Los Angeles as well.
And we talked earlier too about you know, the amount of money that's been spent to clean up Lahaina, but it hasn't gone back to the people. And I saw somewhere where it was estimated that they had spent, according to, you know, the billions of dollars that they pumped into the cleanup, $1.5 million per lot to clean it. That's insane. So there's definitely some shady stuff going on there.
Oh my gosh. And then the tiny houses. So this glass tiny house, Ellie Cochran, again, state representative, she was born in Lahaina, grew up in Lahaina, survived the fire. She wasn't, just off topic a little bit. She actually is the one that called the Maui fire chief when the fire was happening and said, do we need to evacuate? And he goes, why? And she goes, because he was off island. And he goes, why? And she goes, there's a fire. Nobody called the Maui fire chief, who was off island, to tell him there was a fire. He goes, let me call you back. And he calls her back and he says, yes, evacuate. So that's when she did, when she actually had to phone call the fire chief just to let her know to evacuate. I mean, it's like what's going on over there is astronomical. Over $3 billion, you guys, have been given to Maui for the rebuilding of Lahaina. 400. Okay, check this out. Temporary house, these glass houses, and Ellie Cochran calls them fish bowls. They're a glass mobile home, basically, cost $400,000 a piece. $400,000 a piece. When on Big Island, where I live, on the other side, on Hilo side, there's a guy that put a bid in for $40,000 a piece for these homes that can sustain fire. Like, they have a certain material that they can actually be fire prevention or sustain fire. He was completely ignored. They didn't even contact him back. And I'm trying to get an interview with him, but these other houses, $400,000 a piece, when they could have given that money to the Lahaina fire survivors to rebuild a permanent home on their property, but they didn't do that.
Wow. Yeah, that's stunning, the amount of corruption that's going on there. That's a way I saw this too when I was I bid on government contract before. Unless you already have an in, you're not going to make it. They already have chosen who's going to be there, and it's all a good old boy club where everybody's got their one hand in the money till and the other hand in the back pocket patting the butt. So there's a lot of that goes on, and that's an extreme case. So 40 to, what was it, 300, how many thousands of dollars?
$3 billion was given to Maui to rebuild Lahaina from Congress. In fact, I was there on Maui when they did this meeting, and Ed Case, the Congress representative, he asked the Maui mayor, he goes, what are you going to do with this money? Do you guys have a plan? And this was in September, and the Maui mayor says, oh, we'll have a plan next month for this money. So, I mean, it's just like, it's unbelievable. And Ellie Cochran, again, Hawaii State Representative, she's amazing. She is actually asking for receipts and invoices to see where this money went and is going. And they're ghosting her. Some people are not even getting back to her. And some of the contractors who were hired to rebuild and to do work in Lahaina, they weren't even paid. Like, they actually contacted her because they said, we're not getting paid. And she goes, there's millions of dollars here for rebuilding. Why aren't these people getting paid? And then some of them started finally getting paid, but they hadn't gotten paid for a very, very long time. And I don't know if all of them have been paid now or not, but some of them actually left the job because they weren't getting paid to do their job, to do their work that they were hired to do, that they were contracted to do. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. And, I like what you said in the title of your book. What basically happened there, what caused the Great Maui Fire, and is your home next? Now we have LA. So LA was next. And because we haven't been paying attention and starting to stop these people that are doing these things. And so I know the Democrats are pretty much there in charge there in Hawaii, and especially there. And same thing in LA, very strong Democrat base. So the Democrats are learning the hard way that their government that they elected is not for them at all. So what are you seeing for that?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I really feel that the Hawaii Islands are actually mafia run, because this is, and when you have a local Hawaiian running for governor and an outsider becomes governor, like, that tells you right there the elections are rigged. There's no way that locals would go over a local Hawaiian to have a haole in as governor. And this governor, he's something evilly special, this man. He literally says the first words out of his mouth after the fire, and he's on site being recorded, and the first words out of his mouth are, I'm looking for ways for the state to acquire the land for workforce housing. So his constituents just lost everything. Their ohana, their family died, burned alive. And he says, now I'm going to take your land. And that's the first words out of his mouth. And that's really obviously what's happening here. We did create an affidavit of truth that we sent to him, saying that there needs to be an outside investigation into this fire. And also MauiCommunityInvestigates.com is still working toward getting an outside investigation. And there's no time limit on murder. There's no, this was absolute murder of the people. The death toll, unbelievably inaccurate, completely inaccurate. I don't think I told y'all this on the last interview we did, but the Lahaina Luna School District, and thanks to Bodie on Oahu, we have this
where Newsom is talking about.
This screenshot of Hawaii Education Department that literally shows 3,000 children enrolled in Lahaina School District prior to the fire. Afterwards, 2,025 children did not re-enroll. And not only that, but Paul Preston, who lives here in California, he used to be a school superintendent. He called the Hawaii Education Department 2 weeks after the fire, and he said, has any school requested the Kumin, the academic records of the children, of these 2,000 children? Has any school requested them? And these academic records follow the child their entire academic career. So if they go to another school, they have to request these records. And the Hawaii Education Department person on the line, Paul says there was a long pause, and he said no. And then Paul called back a week later, which is 3 weeks after the fire, asked again, has any school requested the academic records of these 2,025 children that were enrolled in the Lahaina Luna School District prior to the fire? And again, the man said no. So what happened to these children? Did they all just move off island? Like, what is the deal with this?
Yeah, there's now you had some pretty revealing pictures, or you do have revealing pictures in your book about, people completely incinerated on one side of their body, and the other side of the body is completely intact and nothing happened to it. That's not normal whatsoever. Frogs leaping and basically in and their leap, and they're internally everything is cooked and gone.
Yeah.
So all you have is the outer, petrified, shell of this frog. So there was obviously some very, suspect things were going on. We talked about, how many people were in the water. You would think if someone's in the water, they'd be safe, but there were people that were cooked in the water as well.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously some very, suspect. We know that it's directed energy weapon use that happened there, but they're continually, covering this stuff up, and they're continually covering this stuff up in LA as well. So I'm going to share the screen, and I'm going to play a real quick clip from Gavin Newsom. So Gavin Newsom is, he's on record for saying that, he's really excited about investors coming in and buying up, the land. And he said that he was all giddy about it as well. In the very early stages when they started to look at this stuff. So here he is. Gavin Newsom smiles at the prospect of external investors.
Where Newsom is talking about calling Josh Green, the Maui fires, okay, they exposed the same stuff that's happening right now. Government failure, delayed response, ignored warnings, and all these priorities. He says something about reimagining California where he calls the Maui guy, and this is what bothers me, Tom, those people that you're talking about now that have nothing, okay, that the house was worth, let's say, $10 million in regard to insurance. Now, if somebody comes and wants to buy up the land, Tom, they can offer them way less and say, listen, everything's gone. You didn't have the right insurance. We're going to give you this much money cash, Tom. Get this, go about your business. Am I right?
People that had their house paid off.
Yes.
That, for some of them that don't have the resources and were underinsured, that is their only choice.
Jeez.
To sell the land to tomorrow's developer and go somewhere.
So when he says this, Pat, isn't this a worrisome thing where he says he called him, and do you mind if we look at his face?
I want to. Is this about insurance?
It's about the land grabbing the land.
Oh, okay. Play this clip, Rob.
We're dealing with a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor,
funny.
Down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
Where Newsom is.
All right. So same situation. I'm glad they brought up Lahaina. And they kind of put together, the governors working together to basically steal people's land. So what are your thoughts on these governors? You've already talked about, Hawaii's governor, but there you have the same situation in LA, California, and they're doing the same thing.
Yeah. And what people need to understand is that this country has been hijacked, and it's a corporation. That's why, when they booted out Newsom and then he was voted back in, it's, these governors are extremely corrupt. And I was just on an interview with Paul Preston of Agenda 21 a couple hours ago, and he was saying that that Newsom never even won any of his elections. So the whole election fraud is just so huge, and that is really something that we need to take back if this is going to be a free country again. Because honestly, Jaco, it's really concerning. And those of you who have not had your home attacked with fires or floods, and this is a weather warfare that's happening right now. I do want to say there was an act through Congress, October 13th, 1976 was the Weather Modification Act put through Congress. And it was the first weather modification patent was in 1891, over 100 years ago, to seed clouds to make it rain, you guys. Seed clouds to make it rain. And what is up with all these videos of all these really weird cloud formations? This is not normal. This is a weather warfare against the people. And I just have to believe that there is something we can do. I don't know if it's sending affidavits to Doge. I don't know what it is, because these people are being attacked. But my point on this topic was that if your home is not under attack or has been attacked, your area is going to be taken over through your general plan. So I live on the Big Island, and we have our Hawaii general plan. It's literally a communist plan that they say inventory people's private property for possible acquisition. They want clustered housing. They want everybody to have electric vehicles, and that's impossible on an island. I mean, there's so many reasons I can go into about that. But it literally also, they want to put in this office called OSCAR, which is Office of Sustainability and Resilience. I'm missing a word in there, but it literally takes out people's voice when we testify. It literally says that every single department in the planning department will be required to go through the Oscar department. So no matter what people say, then it's going to go through Oscar, the Office of Sustainability and Resilience, which, what is that, you guys? UN agenda. And they're the ones that will determine what happens on the Big Island. So what we're doing now with our Big Island is this is what I did, you guys, and this is what you can do. And I highly recommend that you do this. I went to ChatGPT first time I used it because it freaks me out. But went to ChatGPT, put in what constitutional amendments is the Hawaii General Plan 2045 violating? And it gave me a whole list. I created an affidavit on that, as well as the vague language. There's language in this plan that is like, what are they talking about? You can't even understand or grasp what the meaning is. The reason for that, if they put a general plan in that's really vague, they can come back later and put in the details as they want. Oh, this is going to go here. And then again, no public input. So we have an affidavit of truth that goes against not only the constitutional amendments and the electric vehicles, but also the fact that almost the entire plan is based on climate change. And it literally states, it's from the UN, the United Nations, literally states that in the plan. So we're going to be printing out and notarizing these affidavits of truth and sending them to all of our county council members. And we need numbers. We need like thousands of people to do this, because that, and you guys, this is what we call kuleana. This is what is yours to do. You got to look at your general plan, because if your house is not attacked, it will be through your general plan. It's coming for all of us.
Yeah, I remember you've talked about that, and I looked it up. When I was living in Madeira Beach, it was pretty solid at that time, but you have to stay involved. Because they can sneak this stuff in. They get somebody that's corrupt in there, that's paid. They get them into office, and then they start to implement these things, and no one sees it. They think that again, that their political structure is serving them, but the political structure is completely against us on a massive scale. So Carol says the absolute worst part, Michelle, is we are paying for these atrocities. So through taxation, the people that have these jobs and so forth, that's our taxes, paying their salaries, and they're the ones that are coming after us. So yeah, we're just like you said. I think Hawaii is basically run by a mafia. So I think all the states are.
Yeah. Well, what just passed through legislation, you guys, is they just passed bill is 427, House Bill 427. I missed this completely. We all did, actually. And it was, they're putting a biosecurity office in the Hawaii Ag Department, which literally gives them emergency proclamations, emergency powers to take people's private property, to take people's livestock, to take people's food or other products on the guise of there's an insect, or there's a contamination of your soil, or there's a mold. They don't have to prove it, and it bypasses all courts, all due process. And they just put this through legislation. The corrupt governor signed it. And so what we're doing now, again, is affidavits, notice of liabilities. And I love Paul Preston. He's creating a new California state. And we're like, how can we create a new Hawaii state? Because I don't know how else that we can get we can get out of this besides creating a whole new system. It's quite corrupt. And to have that pass legislation literally says that they can lock people down because there's an insect or a beetle or whatever it is they want to say. So you're right. You got to keep looking at your legislative body.
Yeah, and they do these emergency proclamations like you're talking about. They used it 4 or 5 years ago with the bioweapon that came in, under the guise of COVID-19. So they basically started to lay the foundation for what you're talking about right now, to basically take everything from us. So yeah, you really have to be involved in use critical thinking and work around their nonsense, because it is really nonsense when they start to implement a lot of these things. And if no one objects to it, then it becomes law and it continues forward. So that's it's insane, but like you said, it's very easy to overcome this if you get involved. So that's one of the great things. The other thing is the voting process, like you brought up. If we don't overcome the voting irregularities, they will vote people in that will overcome us, and then there's no way we can stop it.
That's right.
So what are your thoughts on the, is there any kind of movement that you're aware of to fix the voting system? I know President Trump is really pushing that hard, but anything there in Hawaii?
Well, there's a hand counting process. I can't remember his name. 107 actually brought him over to the Hawaiian Islands, and his Mike, I can't remember his name right now, but he's doing a hand counting process, trying to get that established. And that would be amazing if we could do that, or I should say when we do that. And that's, again, going to take people to come in together and to demand it. You know, people expect a savior or somebody else to do it for them. You know, I see people around the island and they're always like, oh, thank you for all you do. And you know what? I want to say to them, thank you for doing what you're doing to support this work, because it can't just be me by myself. It can't just be you by yourself. We need all of us to take action. And it doesn't have to be hard. We're talking, yes, the affidavit, you got to print it out. You got to get it notarized. You know, it'll take a couple of hours to do, and you got to go get it mailed off. So, but isn't your freedom worth just a few hours, out of your week to make sure that your children aren't under communism when they grow up? I think it is. And I don't even have children. So.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people don't seem to care if we go communist. So, they don't believe that that's happening. It is happening on a massive scale. It's moving that direction. So only through, people like ourselves, that are out there, pushing back on this, and then people getting involved. That's the only thing that's stopping it out right now, but it has to be a little bit more aggressive, I believe. Now you've been on a lot of shows since you came out with your book, and your book is what edition is it now?
It's in the 4th edition. Edition because Ellie, what happened was the picture that you saw with the body that's been almost directly in half, half of its body is charred, and his hand looks like this and is floating off of the ground. Okay. The charred part, his hand is floating off the ground. That is literally impossible. And then I did an interview with Ellie Cochran about the tiny homes and updating people about what's happening on the tiny homes. It has 21 LA fire oddities, because when LA happened, I was like, that's the same thing. It's the same exact attacks. And then it also has Who Owns America, because I wanted it to be informative for the people who don't understand what's happening with the government. So Who Owns America? The fact that your taxes are voluntary, everybody, and they don't want you to know this. The IRS is part of Puerto Rico. The office is in Puerto Rico. It's outside the government for a reason, because it is not owned by the government. And the federal government is for the IRS is just a business name, you guys, a Duns and Bradstreet number. And so, people, they don't understand this, and they get afraid. And honestly, I get that. Sometimes I'm afraid too, but this is a spiritual war. So I'm always going, okay, Great Spirit, I trust you. I'm going to follow what's in my heart to do and give the rest to you. And that's what I do with that. With my book, it also has, at the end, it has what people can do. And it has the affidavit, as well as notices of liability, as well as Americans in Action. I think it's .org or .com. They're doing some really great work as well. Great Maui Land Grab. Oh, and then everybody, you guys, if you go to this page, my fulfillment house has been hacked. So I actually have a lot of copies. So I'm going to sign copies and send them to you. And so you'll actually pay through PayPal and send me your address, and I will sign them and send them from Hawaii, because my fulfillment house right now has been hacked, and it's not accepting orders. We're just bombarded with from one side to the next, but it just so happens that I have a lot of extra copies. So I'm like, all right, well, that worked out really well. So there we go.
Fantastic. Yeah. And that happened to me with my book as well, The Intuitive Warrior. They came after that and destroyed the publishing house, and I lost a lot of money. And the class action lawsuit, only the guys that had the highest levels, which they were like multi-million dollar settlements that were paid out, but I didn't get anything. So that's one of the things they do. Amazon would be involved in, screwing up my book as well, and did. Now Amazon, I think, has been taken back from what I understand. So, but the fulfillment houses, they can be hacked. I went with another. This is my second fulfillment. I think my third. I screwed over too. So I'm not making any money from my books unless I sell them like you. If I sell them online. So I always tell everyone, if you can, don't go to Amazon or any of these other corrupt book companies, because they steal from us. Go directly to the author. So and how do they get that? Because it'll be audio. I'm going to do this in audio too. So how do they get your book, Michelle?
It's greatmauilandgrabbook.com, greatmauilandgrabbook.com. You can put JACO in, JACO, in the coupon code, and actually, it's not through the fulfillment house anymore. So PayPal, I have a PayPal link that includes the shipping just here in the United States. If you live outside the United States, email me, Michelle at Blossom Inner Wellness, Michelle with 2 L's at Blossom Inner, INNER wellness.com, and I will find out the shipping for you and get it over to you. But yeah, I have a lot of copies, and I'll be signing them, so you'll get a signed copy as well. Yeah, Jaco, it's so interesting about all of these other platforms, because when I was having issues, somebody was writing me and saying, "Oh, I can't order your book," and I'm like, and I thought it was my website, so I contacted my tech guys, and then finally I looked at the fulfillment house. I'm like, oh, something's so it's like, right and left, they keep going after us, but we just keep going and it's just part of the game, so it's all right.
Yeah, very good. And what are you up to going forward? What's your plans?
Well, I spoke at the Red Pill Expo last weekend. I have another interview in a couple of hours. So it's just, honestly, my plan is doing this affidavits, because this general plan, it's for Hawaii, it's really bad. I mean, when you look at it and you look at the fact that Hawaii Homelands is a department where they're supposed to give Hawaii land back to the Hawaiian people. There's things in this plan that will completely just dissolve that department. And so it's my goal right now is just to get the word out in Hawaii and having as many people as possible submit these notices of these affidavits of truth to our county council. We have about 6 months before this Hawaii general plan is going to be made law. We had so many people testifying against this plan in the last meeting. So many, not one person has been for this plan in its entirety. Not one in almost a year that I've gone to all of these meetings. And one of the county council members says, this plan has taken over 10 years to create. We just can't, stop it and take it down. And I'm like, this violates the Constitution. Yes, you can. You can do whatever you want to do, because you don't have to just put this through. So that's my goal moving forward, is these affidavits of truth. And I want to do booths at markets so people know, because people don't know. They don't even know about one of my friends who's a property owner, she even was testifying to the county council and said, I own property here in Hawaii. I get tax bills all the time. Why didn't I get an information letter saying, talking about this general plan? She goes, I found out about this, through different platforms. And so nobody's being told about this, and I write letters to the editors. Sometimes they get through, most of the time they don't, but just keep moving forward, and that's all we can do. And then trust this infinite creator, because I do feel like you in your books and stuff. And I've actually purchased some of your programs before I met you, which I loved. It's a spiritual war. We are really at a spiritual war. And the best thing the devil did was to have people believe he doesn't exist. But he feeds off of fear, anger, and hatred. So another advice I'd give to your listeners, clean up your relationships, forgive yourself, forgive others, and start creating a relationship of just kindness and love and compassion for each other, because they don't want us to have that. They want us to be angry at each other. I just got chills all over. They want us to fight and to be separated. And we come together and laughing, hugging. Is what, at the Red Pill Expo, I finished off with a prayer. I said, everybody please stand and hold hands, touch. And we did a prayer of just dropping in first to your own body and letting it be okay to just be you the way you are, even if, feeling anxiety or fear, whatever it is, don't make it wrong. Use your breath to expand that emotion, and then holding the hand, find that peace inside of your own body, and then let it emanate out into the room where everybody's connected. And then we emanated it out into the neighborhood, into the state, into the all of the United States, Canada, Mexico. And we just put it around the whole earth. We have that power, you guys, and they poo-poo it like it's not a big thing, but it really, really is. And when we focus on the frequency of love and peace and harmony for our planet, safety for our children, we feel into the frequency that is done. We bind anybody who does not value human life and freedom. We bind them with the unconditional frequency of love, and that they can do no more harm, or that their hearts are turned. That's powerful. And your Intuitive Warrior segments and programs are definitely so valuable right now for people to get, because it's where we're at. This is a spiritual war. It's not just, in the matter in the 3D world. It's a spiritual frequency that is under attack. So that's why the media is bombarded with fear. And then we have these weather warfares, more fear, more anger. So it's like compassion, love, forgiveness of self and others. If that's all you do, you guys, that's going to be a step in the right direction.
Yeah. And that's a good point about the flooding. The flooding in multiple states is at 1,000-year levels. So it's weather warfare. They're, like you said, they want to keep us, in fear and anger and separation. So that's beautiful what you said. And I'm glad that you're doing that at events. I do that at events too, where I have a group meditation, usually bring out the sound bowls and, take it to a level like you're talking about, and uses almost identical. So that's beautiful. So good to see we're very similar. So I just want to end it with the quote that you have, the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. Gloria Steinem. So hopefully we piss some people up today so that we can get to the bottom of the problems that we.
I don't know if I'm frozen or you're frozen, Jaco.
There we go. I think we're back now.
There you go.
A little break, I guess, for whatever reason. But thanks so much, Michelle. And, I know you're very busy, so thanks for coming on. Good luck with your other broadcasts and the events you're attending. Great. Good luck with your book. Send us the links in the description that you want people to come in, and we'll put them in the description box, and hopefully people go in and get your book.
Thank you. And you guys can always follow me also at Blossom Inner Wellness, Blossom, and then Inner, INNER Wellness. And I talk a lot about, in fact, we should talk about parasites at some point. That's a whole nother topic around attack on our bodies. But Blossom Inner Wellness is on Rumble, YouTube, BitChute, and all of that. But thank you again, Jaco, for having me on. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you too, Michelle. Keep up the great work. Thanks.
All right. Aloha. Bye.
Bye. Fantastic.